Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, as I said before, you guys were going to get this one early. Can the Carnosaur survive in Monster Hunter? Yes, let's give a round of applause real quick. Yes. So honestly, rules are pretty simple. 10 Carnosaurs thrown into the Monster Hunter universe. But you might say legendary. Where are they going? Well, considering the amount of you that have wanted it and asked for it here, but let's go over these basic stats first. The Carnosaur is around 2 stories tall, which is actually pretty impressive. I didn't think they were that big here. I thought they were the size of a Tyrannosaurus, but then again, it makes sense for Carnosaur versus Devil Joe, so I guess I was wrong, right? And that would actually put it around 20 to 25 feet tall. We'll go with the maximum for it, because again, it should be as tall as a house here, or taller than a house here. And then we'll just go for 25 feet. But as you guys know, we are going to be putting it in the Elder's Recess, the toughest of the tough, the grit of the grit when it comes to Monster Hunter. You are not allowed here unless you are a high-level hunter, the apex of apexes. And so we will only be using the monsters that are known to basically visit here. And I do think I did cut some of them out here because again, I just kind of used them in the last video or a previous one. So with that being said here, let's actually talk about it. How strong is the Carnosaur? Because again, while this is a survival video, we still have to talk about the power level of a creature because again, this does determine how well they survive in this kind of environment. So the Carnosaur is the second strongest apex predator of the planet Lustria, but is the more commonly used one in combat here. It's stronger than Razordons and Salamanders here, and the illustrious and unstoppable and unstable Stegodon. Matter of fact, it actually preys upon the Stegodon, and it does not care for its poison or the fire that some of these other creatures emit. It's the apex predator after the Dreadsaurian. So what does that really get us here? Well, each of these creatures are actually able to fight against bloodthirsters, which were known to invade Lustria as well here. Now, bloodthirsters actually scale to the incarnate, which are able to destroy large moons here. Now, again, this would easily be in the planetary range, but here's the fun thing about a Carnosaur, right? A single Carnosaur in a blood-lusted state, meaning it goes berserk here. Wolverine Berserker Rage type of style here. He tears through it, tears through hordes of them by themselves here. Now, keep in mind, hordes is pretty much the length of an army, or pretty much an entire, like, yeah, basically that's about it, an entire army. So they're able to, like, just rip through them like a hot knife through butter, and they just don't care. They don't care if they're taking damage. So this means that a single Carnosaur would be able to tear through an army of bloodthirsters, by itself here, putting the Carnosaur at not only large planetary, but you could likely even get it to dwarf star level if you want to get it to that high here. Because again, it's tearing through them by itself here. And then you just add more Carnosaurs to the mix, and they all get bloodlusted as well here. So, yeah, they're going to tear through. They tear through a lot of things like a hot knife through butter. And so you then have the apex, or the ultimate of the species here, which would be known as, funny enough, again, Grimlock, with Grimlock being the strongest of his species and considered to be above all the other Carnosaurs, meaning that this dude is likely massively, like, stronger than the rest of them here. Like that in terms of scaling is absolutely ridiculous here. And so with that being said here, the Carnosaur is going to be thrown in, or 10 Carnosaurs, are going to be thrown in. Now let's talk about the first part about it: prey, or food sources. Now, water is not too hard to come by. There are pockets and areas where there are water, so again, the Carnosaurs should be able to find that. Now, considering the fact that they are able to work in groups here, this means that some of the prey animals I'm about to name, like the Grimocon, the Cortos as well here, and these, Pteranodon, I think the Pteranodon ones were called Cortos, please let me know if I'm wrong in the comment section down below, or the Banar, I think they called Banaras or Banaros or something like that there. And so yeah, those guys would just be snacks. Same thing with Gastrodons here. Gastrodons are the most common herbivore or ore eater in the Elder's Recess here, so they'll be able to basically sustain a Carnosaur for a decent while here. However, some of the prey animals actually do come from some of the more larger creatures here. And yes, I do think in a one-on-one, the Carnosaur can take these down here. But considering the fact that they are able to work in groups and well-coordinated ones, mind you, these creatures being on the menu are, not safe either. And the first one we got is Dodogama. Such a shame our lovable big boy is going to be the dinner board. And I mean, everything pretty much preys upon it down here. It's the lower one here, but again, it is capable of defending itself with lava balls and, molten rock gravel and stuff like that there. But at the end of the day here, the Carnosaur can not only just, get around it, it could just grab it and hold it in its mouth like Devil Joe. Next up, we have Lavioche here, and this is actually a very interesting one, because Lavioche is one of the weaker monsters of the Elder's Recess, but it is able to still get away by swimming into lava. I think if Lavioche slips up when it's getting hunted here, or if it tries to stand its ground here, the Carnosaurs get it. There's no ifs, and or buts about it here. So what I think is going to happen here is that the Lavioche here is likely going to, if the Lavioche stands its ground, it's going to get eaten. I don't think there's any ifs, ands, or buts about that here. But if it decides to just run away, then it's just kind of a safer, one of the few least preyed upon animals here. And next up, we have Uragon. Now, Uragon is likely going to be the most preyed upon creature, considering it's kind of like a sauropod in a way here. You know how, like, Allosauruses will group together in dinosaur documentaries, so on sauropods? Yeah, the same thing can happen to Uragon here. And considering they do travel in pairs here, I think that a pack of Carnosaurs would definitely try to isolate one, or just try and take them both together. I mean, it is 10 of them, right? And then we have Bonboro. Yeah, we need to talk about how this guy should not be an invader. I mean, him, Fulgur Anjanath, and a whole lot of others just shouldn't be invading like at all here. It's ridiculous. But again, it does provide for interesting challenges on different maps here. But with that being said here, Bonboro is definitely going to provide a smorgasbord of meat for a Carnosaur family. Then we have Brachydios. Now, wait. Before y'all get on me, hear me out. Brachydios actually migrate to the Elder's Recess to actually reach a different form of sexual maturity. This is because of the blast mode here. However, some Brachydioses are not strong enough or mature enough to handle it, and they wind up blowing their armor off, killing themselves. So the Carnosaur would definitely be able to take advantage of that and actually use the opportunity to get a Diablos-like meal. So believe it or not here, I definitely have to say its score is around a 10 out of 10 here. The Carnosaurs are definitely fast, agile, and smart enough to take advantage of any of these creatures around here. The only thing I can see difficult is them really just getting water overall. Now next up, we have competition. Basically, the animals are going to give the Carnosaurs the hardest here. And well, yeah, they have their words cut out for them here. Now back on Lustria, they actually competed with the Razordons, Salamanders, and the Dread Saurian, which was the apex predator of Lustria here. However, they were actually able to drive the dragons of Lustria to extinction because they outcompeted them here. So again, Carnosaurs possibly could outcompete some of these predators here and actually might make the Elder's Recess a bit more stable. Now again, I do understand that there are a multitude of dragons in, Warhammer here. Storm Drakes and, many of these other creatures that do exist here. However, I do have to state here that, again, while we don't know what these dragons truly look like, if someone wants to leave, a pic of one of these dragons down below, please just, let me know and stuff like that there, and I would definitely be grateful. But at the end of the day here, they would actually be able to compete not only with some of these predators, but likely drive them back to their native homelands. Now, Fulgur Anjanath is one of the first few I do have on this list here, and it's simply because that it's mainly seen as a lone hunter here. And so in a one-on-one situation, I could see a Carnosaur beating a Devil Joe. Now, a pack of Carnosaurs versus one single Devil Joe, Anjanath here, excuse me. Yeah, it's not going to be fair, like, at all here. I actually see, like, them blitzing the Anjanath completely, and then just probably eating it as well here. Glavenus is very interesting. It's also a loner here, but again, it does have one of the, best defenses out of any monster in Monster Hunter, that being that bladed tail and stuff like that there. So believe it or not here, I do think it would actually be pretty interesting to see how a Glavenus would do against a pack of Carnosaurs, but at the end of the day, it could likely cut a lot of them in twos here. Now next up, we do have Brute and regular Tigrex here. Now this is actually one of the interesting ones here, because Tigrexes and Carnosaurs are pretty similar, just brute force with nothing to lose here. And the only thing I could actually say is different is that the Carnosaur is faster still. It's a more agile and leaner creature here. However, it does have the advantage of being a pack hunter as well here. So it could definitely drive off Tigrex from kills here, and if it wants to predate upon it, it can, because Tigrexes have no issues with this here. Now, the major competitions I actually do see the Carnosaurs having to go through are the likes of Ebony Odogorons and the likes of Azure Rathaloses here. You might say, oh, what about Silver and Gold Rathians? Oh, those guys? Oh, they're overkill. So is Stygians and Ogre. But now back to these two here. Now, Odogoron is definitely capable of taking on a single Carnosaur by itself here. However, it's very possible that it may adapt to more pair hunting here. And if not, may just revert back to its more scavenger-like styles here. And plus, with its dragon energy, it's a real threat to these creatures here. However, the Carnosaurs may become familiar with Rathalos, seeing it as a dragon, or at least one of their dragons here. And so I think these two would definitely provide the most threats and definitely competition here towards the Carnosaurs, likely taking their young and definitely eliminating a Carnosaur or an injured Carnosaur if they get the chance here. There's also the likes of Seething Basilgoose and, Brachydios as well here, but again, I have to digress here. Next up, we do have Seething Basilgoose, and well, both the B-52 bombers, normal and I think variant instead of subspecies, but hey, it is what it is here. But this one, Devil Joe and Rajang are all capable of not only fighting a Carnosaur, but killing them. However, again, like I said in my Devil Joe versus Carnosaur video, that is a lot closer. However, going to the more higher level species here, a Furious Rajang, a Savage Devil Joe, and a Seething Basilgoose are where the line is just drawn here. They can definitely take on a Devil Joe, and I would actually say they speed abuse a Devil Joe here. However, a Savage Devil Joe, which has a much higher pain tolerance, much higher, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess you could say endurance level as well here, and much more aggressive and much more ruthless, would definitely throw even a group of Carnosaurs for a loop here. Even the same with Seething Basilgoose here, with its more advanced scale bombs here, with them actually solidifying from liquid to highly explosive. So yeah, that also happens here. Now, as for Brachydios here, I actually see this being more of a predator and prey relationship here, and this is because Carnosaurs will be waiting for Brachydioses to kind of just fail with the blaster mode challenges here. And then another thing I can also see in terms of competition is just territorial disputes here, as Brachydios is definitely a much more dangerous as a prey item because it is a ore eater in the in the New World, rather than just preying on gastrodons. It will indulge in meat though. However, yeah, they're not beating any Elder Dragons. No Nergigante, Kushala, or or Teostra at all. They're not beating those guys. I definitely think Nergigante would make the entire group go extinct here. So believe it or not, the Carnosaurs have their word cut out for them here. They're not able to really compete with some of the higher tiers here, and these are simply Elder Dragons. The very things that cause extinctions and prevent extinction events themselves here. So, believe it or not, I actually give this Carnosaur in terms of competition a solid 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's actually able to do pretty well. It's just that the higher tiers are just flat out impossible for it to beat. But let's talk about one more thing here, that being a speculative evolution. And well, you guys kind of guessed it here. say hello to your new Palarex, or Palosaur, if you will, here. You see, I definitely could see the Carnosaur being tamed by the hunters, considering the fact that in order to tame them, you need to have a strong willpower. And again, there is no willpower stronger than our hunter, able to literally tame the soul of black dragons and elder dragon level monsters to basically give them his power. I mean, it doesn't get any more powerful in terms of will than that, unless you're a Green Lantern, but whatever here. And considering the sheer fact we are now taming bird wyverns, fanged wyverns, and there are some monsters that can be domesticated here. I will be making a top 10 video, as promised here, on top 10 monsters from Monster Hunter that can be domesticated, and the little evidence that we have for it, and the possibilities for people considering, or people in the Monster Hunter world considering to domesticate them here. But the thing is, though, having a Carnosaur on your side, along with a Palosaur on your side or whatever, with a Palamut, Palico, and even a Secret as well here, oh yeah, we're good. Because imagine going into battle with a whole Carnosaur that can fight against the Devil Joe. And don't forget, we get to make armor for this as well. Imagine some dinosaur-like armor made out of a Magnum Mallow, a Devil Joe, or Elder Dragon like Kushala Dayor, just put on the Carnosaur here. I'm gonna need somebody to draw that. I do not care. I really don't. Because the sheer fact that you can not only have a different variety of armors for your Palico, Palmut, and yourself here. Now imagine having all four, along with the Secret, which I hope just is able to get armor as well. I think that would be pretty great for it. It is a, mount in its own right here. But having a Carnosaur to go with you into battle, and then giving it a weapon, or maybe some claw augmentations as well here. Imagine just giving it like these little gauntlets on his claws that are able to emit whatever element that you want it to emit here. And then you could just ride it and just kind of use like a wyvern control form, like the what is it, the bugs or whatever here, just to kind of control the wyvern in general here. But in all honesty, I would definitely love to see the Carnosaur in Monster Hunter in the future. But yeah, it does survive with some extreme difficulty, and it would definitely be a great mount for the hunter and for the guilds in general here. But hey, that's going to be all today, guys. Please comment down below, like and subscribe and share with your friends. This is Legendary Grimlock, and I hope you guys have a blessed day.